Chair Smith, the meeting is now live.
All right. Welcome, everybody, for tonight's Halifax West Community Council, June 21st, 2022. As always, on National Indigenous Peoples Day, I'd like to recognize that we are located on Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral traditional unceded lands of the Mi'kmaq people. The municipality acknowledges the peace and friendship treaty signed in this territory and recognizes that we are all treaty people. If anyone's listening tonight, we do have a flag raising to commemorate National Indigenous Peoples Day. I believe it's 7 at Parade Square. So if you can, feel free to attend. And with that, we'll just do a quick audio and video check. I'm sure everyone's cameras and mics are working, but we'll just do it just because. So I'll start with Councilor Mason.
Good afternoon, everybody. Great to be here. Good to see you all. Ready to pass some motions.
Councilor Cleary.
Hello, Mr. Chair, colleagues, everyone. Doing great here on Quinpool Road in District 9, Halifax West, Armdale.
Thank you, Councilor Morse.
Good evening, everybody. Glad to be joining you from Clayton Park.
Thank you, Councilor Coe.
Hello, hello. Coming to you from Purcell's Cove this evening.
Thank you, and Councilor Stoddard.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and colleagues, coming to you from Timberley.
Thank you. All right, moving on to 2, approval of the minutes, May 10th, 2022. Mover and a seconder. Thank you.
Second.
Second by Councilor Cleary. Any submissions, deletions, questions? Nope. All right. Couple questions.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. All right. Approval order of business. Clerk, I believe there's nothing to add to the agenda.
That is correct, Chair Smith. There are no additions or deletions from the clerk's office this evening.
All right. Thank you. Anything from members? All right. Mover and seconder.
I'll move.
Thank you.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Mason. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. All right. Business arising of the minutes, we have none. Calls for declaration of conflicts of interest. Do we have any of those today? Let's see, none. Motion of reconsideration, none. Motion of rescission, none. Consideration of deferred business, we have none. Notice of table matters, we have none. We have no hearings this evening. Correspondence, petitions, in delegations, correspondence.
Chair Smith, my apologies, my mute button's a little slow this evening. The clerk's office has received no correspondence for this meeting. As well, we haven't received any petitions.
All right, so no petitions. Any members with petitions? All right, moving to presentations, we have none. Information items brought forward, we have none. Right to the meat of it, 1311 case 22539, amendments to stage 1 and stage 2 development agreements for phase 3 of Rockingham South at the intersection of Dunbrack Street, Ruth Goldblum Drive, Halifax. And we do have a presentation for this item if the committee would like.
Should we have the presentation, folks, or would you, do you feel like it's, we've been through this before, or you would? Okay.
I see a thumbs up and I see another thumbs up. Okay, presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll get the presentation set up here in just one moment.
All right, thank you.
And perfect. Can you see my presentation?
Not yet.
No.
No? Okay, let's try it again. How about
Mm,
there?
Yep. I see it now.
Perfect. A little rusty on this. Thanks. Okay. Just 1 second. Great. Okay. So good evening, Mr. Chair and councillors. My name is Megan Mont, and I am a planner with HRM's Urban Enabled Planning Applications Group. And I'm here tonight to give a short presentation to recap case 22539 and go over what is in front of you tonight. So this is an application from WM Fairs to amend the Stage 1 and Stage 2 development agreement for Rockingham South Phase 3. Oh, and realizing that the screen isn't sharing here, just 1 second. Or sorry, not skipping slides here. Okay, perfect. So this is an application from WM Fairs to amend the Stage 1 and the Stage 2 development agreement for Rockingham South Phase 3 to allow a 5-story hotel or an apartment building with minor commercial uses at grade at the northeast corner of Dunbrack Street and Ruth Goldblum Drive. So you may remember this application from last September, and at that time, Council approved the Stage 1 amending agreement following a public hearing, and that Stage 1 amending agreement is now in effect. So tonight, the Stage 2 amending agreement is before you for a decision, and amendments to the Stage 2 amending agreement are non-substantive and can be approved by resolution. So the subject site is located in the Rockingham South neighborhood, which is on the east side of Dunbrack Street in Clayton Park. The image on the right shows the approximate boundaries of the site, which is in the northeast corner of Ruth Goldblum Drive and Dunbrack Street. So the land surrounding the site include an apartment building to the north, apartment buildings to the north, to the east, and to the south, low-rise residential development to the northwest, and commercial development to the south and the southwest. So this is a view of the intersection of Dunbrack Street and Ruth Goldblum Drive and Farnham Gate Road, and it's taken from the Farnham Gate Road looking across Dunbrack Street. So the red arrow is pointing to the subject site, which is currently vacant. There is the gas bar and convenience store to the right, and to the left is a 7-story multi-unit dwelling. And then in the distance there, you can see some more higher rise multi-unit dwellings, and those range from about 4 to 7 stories. So the site is zoned Schedule K under the Halifax Mainland Land Use Bylaw and designated residential environments under the Halifax Municipal Planning Strategy. So the Schedule K zone allows for the consideration of mixed-use development on lands located in Halifax, in mainland Halifax, through comprehensive development in the form of Stage 1 and Stage 2 development agreements. So there is an existing Stage 1, and that has been amended recently, and then the Stage 2 development agreement in effect. So the implementation policy 3.3 of the Halifax Municipal Planning Strategy enables council to consider this proposal, and policy 3.3 outlines the application of the Schedule K zone. And just as a note, section 68, a Schedule K in the Halifax Mainland Land Use Bylaw is where it allows council to consider various uses on these lands, including hotels. So the first Stage 1 development agreement for Rockingham South, which applies to all the lands colored on the image on this slide, was approved back in 2013. And the Stage 1 agreement provides for that comprehensive design of the development of the lands, including details such as the layout, general types of land uses, population density, general building design, and site design. And the Stage 1 agreement approved by Halifax and West Community Council in September of 2021 enables a 5-story hotel or multi-unit residential building with the option to use that ground floor as minor commercial uses, which would be any of the commercial uses permitted in the C2A zone of the Halifax Mainland Land Use Bylaw. The first stage 2 development agreement was approved back in 2016, and that was guided by the stage 1 agreement. So it provides detailed plans and building designs for each phase of the development, and the subject lands are part of phase 3, which is highlighted in that reddish color on your screen there. And then each phase has its own stage 2 development agreement. The proposed amending stage 2 development agreement incorporates schedules with detailed design of the building and the site. And as I mentioned, these amendments to the stage 2 agreement are non-substantive and can be approved by resolution. So I just included this slide to illustrate the remaining steps for this application. We're at the stage where council can make a decision about the stage 2 amending agreement. And then any decision that is made can be appealed within 14 days of that decision being advertised. And then if there's no appeals, the agreement would be signed and registered on title. And the agreement will be in effect once all parties have signed the agreement. And then after that, they could apply for a permit and be issued a permit if they're in compliance with the agreements. So the next couple slides, I'm just going to quickly go over the schedules that will be forming part of the stage 2 agreement. So on this side, this is the site plan. So access to the building would be from Ruth Goldblum Drive, and then pedestrians can access the site from the sidewalk along Ruth Goldblum Drive or off of Dunbrack Street. And in the back behind the building there is some surface parking and then a shared driveway to the multi-unit next to it. So this is the east elevation. It would be the view from the parking lot. The agreement allows for a 5-story building. And so then you can see there that the 4 stories above grade would be either hotel or apartment. And then the ground floor could be commercial space. And you can see those potential leasehold spaces in there. And the types of retail that the C2A zone permits include things like retail stores, restaurants, and banks. So this is the western elevation. So this is the view from Dunbrack Street. And then this would be the south and north elevation. So the south elevation is the side that faces Ruth Goldblum Drive, and the north elevation is the side that faces the 7-story apartment building. And that is also the side where the underground parking is accessed. So the proposed changes to the stage 2 agreement include adding a definition for hotel, permitting the subject site to be developed as a hotel or apartment building with optional ground floor commercial. It reiterates that the additional residential density enabled under the stage 1 agreement is to be allocated entirely to the subject site, and it incorporates schedules with detailed design of the building and the site. So staff recommend that Halifax and West Community Council approve by resolution the proposed amending stage 2 development agreement to allow for a 5-story hotel with minor commercial uses at grade, or a multiple unit residential building with minor commercial uses at grade to be constructed at the corner of Dunbrack Street and Ruth Goldblum Drive, Halifax, which shall be substantially of the same form as contained in attachment B of the staff report. And that concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Megan. Any questions or clarification, or would someone just like to put the motion on the floor?
Yeah, I just have one question, if I could.
Sure.
The parking that's shown outside, is that intended for the commercial area, or is that overflow for the building itself, or do you know what that surface parking is for?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the councillor. So the surface parking that was seen on the site plan, that is for the development itself. So it could be used by I'm not sure how they'll allocate it within the building. So they have underground parking as an option, and then the surface parking. And I would suspect that the surface parking, if they have those commercial uses at grade, it would primarily be allocated to those uses, but those are not details that are specified in the agreement itself.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Not seeing anybody else, so we have to put the motion on the floor, councilors.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, I'm not very well prepared. I don't have it with me.
Okay, That's not a problem. We can get it.
I'll do it.
I've got it.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Remember Councilor Morse. It's a long one too. I feel like you game me. I move that Halifax and West Community Council 1 approve by resolution the proposed amending stage 2 development agreement to allow for a 5-story hotel with minor commercial uses at grade or multiple unit residential building with minor commercial uses at grade to be constructed at the corner of Dunbrack Street and Ruth Goldblum Drive, Halifax, which shall be substantially of the same form as contained in attachment B of the staff report dated May 6, 2021, and 2, require the amending stage 2 development agreement follow a 5-story hotel with allow a 5-story hotel and minor commercial uses at grade or a multiple unit residential building with minor commercial uses at grade to be constructed at the corner of Dunbrack Street and Ruth Goldblum Drive, Halifax, be signed by the property owners within 240 days or any extension thereof granted by council on request of the property owners from the date of final approval by council and any other bodies as necessary, including applicable appeal periods, which is later. Otherwise, this approval will be void and obligations arising hereunder shall be at an end. I so move.
Second.
Seconded by Councilor Stoddard.
My only comment, and we can throw it back to Councilor Morris to see if she has anything further, is to Meg, our lawyer, must we really restate the part 1 of the motion in part 2 of the motion? Does it not flow? That if we're saying, and this agreement must be signed in 240 days, I just realized halfway through, it's like, I'm reading the same thing again. It doesn't make any sense to me. That was a new flip. Maybe that was just a drafting error. But anyway, I support what's before us. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Mason. Anything from you, Councilor Morse?
No, thank you, Councillor Mason, for reading all that for me. I do have it again from the proponent that they intend to develop this as a multi-unit residential and not a hotel. But the language is still there, I guess, in case of a last minute change, but they reconfirmed their intention to have this as housing, not a hotel.
Thank you, and that makes sense considering current market.
Yeah.
So, Councilor Clary, yeah.
Just very quickly, so when you look at what's proposed, especially in the diagrams that are provided, thinking about how Dunbrack is going to be one of our spines for rapid transit. We are building up a little more density, and I'm, like Councillor Morse, also glad that this is going to be housing, desperately needed housing. And what I'm happy about is from Dunbrack, this building fronts on Dunbrack, and the limited surface parking is behind on Ruth Goldblum beside the building in the driveway. And there are commercial spaces at grade, which is really important as we develop Dunbrack. As Councillor Morse knows and led the charge on, we're redeveloping Dunbrack starting at Willett. And eventually, once the suburban plans are in front of us and rapid transit is coming, this area is going to be a really important part. And having those kind of high-rise and, in this case, mid-rise buildings as we come down that street, that will be full of buses and sustainable transportation. I'm happy to see this getting ahead of the curve, and looking forward to see what we can do to rehabilitate many of these areas as rapid transit and better transit generally comes through our communities. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Councillor Morse.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. So not seeing anybody else putting their hand up, call for a question on the motion.
Question?
Question has been called. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. All right, that passes. Next item, 1312 case 23016, substantive amendment to Brunello Development Agreement, Timberley. No presentation, but we do have Dean who can answer questions if needed. So I'd like to put it on the floor.
I will put it on the floor, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Put up here. It is recommended that Halifax and West Community Council 1 give notice of motion to consider the proposed amending development agreement as set out in attachment A to allow additional residential development area and changes to certain golf course safety margin boundaries and schedule a public hearing. 2, approve the proposed amending development.
Excuse me,
shall be-
Councillor Stoddard. We just need
Sorry?
the first part. It's just notice of motion this evening.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Second,
Thank you. Seconded by
Okay.
Councilor Mason.
Just
I
read
was
the small
actually-
part.
I was, see, Andrea, you're on the button. I was looking like, where is that part of the motion? Anyway, but Andrea's on the button. So thank you for that, and saves you a little bit of hassle reading that whole motion.
Thank you, Andrea and Councillor Mason. Number 1, to approve by resolution, the proposed amending stage 2 development agreement to allow a 5-story, oh, geez.
Oh no, we're good. So
I'm
now,
good?
yeah, we're good. So now you can just, if you have any comments or questions, it's scheduling a public hearing. So you could ask now or wait until the public hearing, but up to you.
Just wanted to give a little background. There is an existing development agreement for Brunello that permits density of 3,200, and at the present time, 11,167 have or will have units. The applicant wants to expand on this amount, but has not been used or is not ready for not really. Okay. Original development, as you know, was sound.
I don't know if this is a point of order or not. I think it may be, but I would just encourage Councillor Stoddard not to say anything in terms of support or not for this as we're establishing we're going to public hearing. You would say that after the public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
So you can, so what it sounded like you're doing was giving a background, but again, as Councilor Mason mentioned, because we're going into public hearing, just try not to give your opinion because that will be saved for the public hearing.
Okay. I have to skip some of this.
Well, the easiest thing to do, honestly, is just wait to the public hearing. That way you don't have to question what you're saying.
Take that under advisement. Thank you. I'm done.
Yeah, not trying to rush you, but it's easier and safer. All right. So anything further from members? Not seeing any question on this. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Question. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, thank you. That passes. Public hearing will be scheduled. So,
Mr. Chair, if I may, on the public hearing, as we normally would, in previous times when we knew the schedule better, does our clerk know when a public hearing might be coming? And I'm assuming, perhaps incorrectly, but I think I'm assuming correctly, we'd be in person at City Hall for that.
The next scheduled meeting is July 19th. So staff is ready to go for July 19th. It would be July 19th. And I do believe, I don't want to speak for the chair, but Chair, I do believe that you would want to have that public hearing in the chamber. Is that correct?
yeah, that would, yes, I'll just say yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, and currently our July 19th meeting is if required, but if we have a hearing scheduled, then we can, I think it'd be okay to schedule that meeting. But we'll deal with that at agenda setting. Okay, so let me just scroll back up here. 13.1.3, council appointment to appeal standing committee. So clerk, do you want to do this process, or should I do this process?
Chair Smith, you can do the process if you wish.
Yeah, okay, cool. So just wondering if there's any nominations for appeals. No nominations? I don't think we can do that.
Well, the report says if there's no nominations, then nothing changes and Councillor Cuttle stays on the committee. So if someone wishes to step forward, you can call 3 times. And if they don't, that's how it stays.
Okay. All right. So with that advisement, I will call 3 times for nominations. First time, any nominations? Are there any nominations? Are there any nominations? Seeing no nominations, do I not call for the question because nothing has changed?
There's no motion on the floor. The matter's concluded.
So we have Krista Bonnie on the line, who is our deputy clerk. Deputy clerk, can you advise as to what is the appropriate procedure here, please?
Certainly. So without a motion, Councillor Cuttle has sort of 2 options now. They could remain until their term is ended November 2022, at which time new councillor nominations will be made for the standing committee. And the secondary option would be that they could resign and the committee would operate with 1 less member. There is a risk of not achieving quorum, but that is something that that we would just have to monitor.
Okay.
I am fine to remain until November 2022.
All right. Okay, so with
That
that,
somebody else has to take over.
and that's a demand.
The reality.
Right. All right. So with that, since there's no motion, no need to put anything on the floor, we'll end. This item has been dealt with. So thank you, members. Well, I don't know if Councilor Cutler, you're saying thank you, but thank you, members, for moving on now. 13.2, members of Community Council, we have none. Motions, we have none. In camera, I believe we don't have any. Do we have any in camera?
Yes,
we
Chair
do.
Smith,
We
there
do.
is one item.
Yeah, we do have one in camera. Okay, so motion to go in camera.
Moved.
Second.
Thank you. Moved and seconded to go in camera. We will go in camera. Oh, you there.
So that would be the Teams link then.
Yes, in the Teams link in your appointment should be.
Good evening, counselors. Counselor Smith is going to be rejoining the meeting shortly. He's just having issues with his Zoom link, and I'll be sending that out to everybody again. Just one moment, please. Good evening, everyone. The meeting is going to need to take a break because for some reason, the Zoom link is not working for all of our staff and members. So not everyone's been able to rejoin the meeting. I'm going to create a new Zoom link as well as link that video to the agenda website page so that we can continue with the meeting. So it probably might take us upwards of 10 minutes in order to do that. And my apologies for the inconvenience. And I'm going to ask Steve Thormander, who is our co-host this evening, if he can share a break screen so that we're at break until we can get everyone to rejoin. And my apologies for the technical difficulties.
Okay, is that gonna, I guess I'll look at my email. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone who is watching this live broadcast of the Halifax and West Community Council meeting. Unfortunately, I'm going to need to stop the live stream of this meeting because for some reason the Zoom link has stopped working. I need to create a new Zoom link as well. I'll be creating a new YouTube link. So if anybody wants to resume watching the end of the meeting, please be aware that a new Zoom link and YouTube link will be created and linked on the agenda webpage within the next 10 minutes or so. So please, you can resume watching the meeting at that new YouTube link. Thank you very much for everyone's understanding. I'm just going to be ending the live stream now in order to allow for that new YouTube link to be created. Thank you very much. And my